Alright, YouTube, it's time for another video, and this one is to anybody who is still right-wing and you make under 100, we'll say 500 grand a year. You're a fucking idiot, okay? Um, Anybody who makes 60 grand, 40 grand, doing like some menial job with a little bit of some PTO and some, 4% company match, 401k or whatever, there is no reason for you to vote Republican probably ever again for in the rest of your life. I know everybody wants to talk about woke shit and transgendered people, and the numbers aren't there. You are creating a humongous boogeyman in your life that is ruining it. And really what the real issue is people's internet addiction and not pursuing anything with their life. All right? The amount of people I know who are in this chronic state of, listening to podcasts and listening to YouTube and not actually just like, okay, I've listened to this video once, I've gotten the gist of it, it's time to put it down and actually try something new in my life. This is insane, all right? Federal, one of the things that really concerns me about the federal workers, a large chunk of getting, furloughed or fired or whatever. You guys think that if you work in the private sector like I do, if you think you're immune to the effects of what this is going to have, of this, I mean, even if you're not one of these federal workers, even if you're not friends with one of them and you care about your friends losing their job, even if it's not a family member or a loved one or somebody in your immediate vicinity, flooding the job market, which is already devoid of a large amount of employment opportunities, and flooding that market with 1 million now federal employees who are going to be looking for a job, they're going to be looking to get rid of you, and replacing you with some of these workers if they think they can save some bucks. Again, I've said this numerous times about Ponzi schemes and Social Security, and the political right wants to talk about Social Security being a Ponzi scheme, and this applies to everything in the world. Life itself is a bit of a Ponzi scheme because you're going to die. And capitalism is just as much of a Ponzi scheme as Social Security. If you have a bunch of workers who are looking for work and only in an economy that's stagnating, the value of the worker goes down, the purchasing power will go down, the market will slow even more, and you need to find something new to keep the system afloat. Now, historically, those things that were something new, the internet was this massive influx of, now because everyone wanted a web page, and back in the early 2000s, we didn't have these like automated softwares that can make a website in 10 minutes. You had to do it via HTML and actually learn how to code. The whole learn to code meme, that's a dead, coding's kind of dead. It's still around and there's still value to it, but it's a shrinking industry too. Big tech is not your friend. Technology has not been the solution to your life problems for at least 20 years, maybe even slightly longer than that. Your smartphone is ruining your life. But when you have 1 million workers at the federal, going into the private sector, and there's no real places that are hiring large amounts of people, I don't think you realize how this will affect your quality of life and your income eventually as well. You are replaceable. You're not as important as you think. Everybody wants to think that, if they fire me or if I find a new job, that company will go on. No, they're not. They're probably not gonna. You're not that important. So you should be concerned when there's large amounts of people that don't have work, especially when you consider the fact that all of these layoffs are not going to trim any of the budget in any substantial way. It's literally like I believe that one was it a senator? I think he was like that Missouri senator, no, Arizona senator, I think. And he like had this presentation where he's like these, all these cuts are literally less than like 1 day's worth of the federal budget. We all know why. We all know why the federal budget is, the national debt is skyrocketing. It's because, one, there's a large chunk of people who are trying to live a life they can't afford and they're borrowing a lot of money. And two, there's a large chunk of wealthy companies and rich people who don't pay any taxes effectively because they're taking all of their money in stock and they're not really selling the shares, which means they're not paying any capital gains. And if they do sell the shares, they're going to be selling them after holding them for a year, which means they pay like some 10% long-term capital gains tax rather than any sort of nominal income. So all of these, back in the 1950s, the highest tax brackets, I believe, were 70-something%. Now, the effective tax rate after like loopholes and everything was more like 50-something%. We don't pay, the highest tax brackets are not paying 50-something%. I believe right now it's like 34. So the reason why the national debt's ballooning out of control is because the taxes have never been lower on the wealthy. Now you could say, well, why should they have to pay more? They're only paying more taxes on a higher on the income that's over the threshold of those brackets. They don't pay 34% or whatever on the first $100-something thousand. They only pay that upper bracket on the highest amount. So if you made that amount too, you'd pay that bracket. The real issue is that's why the national debt is ballooning out of control. Federal workers is not causing it. USAID isn't really causing it. It's a handful. It's the military. It's maybe you can include Medicare, Medicaid, but those programs are used. I mean, if you want to gut those, good luck winning another election. Also, there's a lot of poor people, a lot of low-income whites who use Medicaid. And a lot of low-income whites voted for Trump. The real issue is, though, that Democrats or Republicans, neither one of them can really fix the economy because the economy is made up of people's wants and dreams and desires. And more people, they only want to stay at home and become a YouTuber and an influencer. And they don't want to actually apply anything to their life. And hell, now you're starting to see a large chunk of influencers and YouTubers, a large chunk of these people are living a lie where, they're literally like, they don't even like their hobbies anymore. They know what generates the clicks and the ad revenue, and they're literally destroying their own personal life for content. Here's a novel idea. Fuck content. When do you actually do something for your own enjoyment? When do you actually do something to have the novelty of something new in your life and not worry about min-maxing everything on day one? As somebody who's been working out at the gym since his sophomore year of high school, and now I'm in my early to mid 30s, what I can tell you is, every year you kind of meet this is late February. About a few weeks ago, maybe the people who wanted to get really healthy decided, they stopped the fucking gym and, we're starting to get lazy again and whatever. And it's funny because a lot of people don't realize that when you want to start a new hobby like working out, you don't just go balls deep on January 1st, right? If anything, you're probably better off starting working out in like July or something. Fuck this whole New Year resolution crap. But the real issue is so many people now, like, they watch all these YouTube videos of different, workouts, whether it's the more muscular types or whether it's these, new age workouts like knees over toes guy or whatever. A large chunk of these things, it's just like you're wasting hours of your day watching this shit. Then you go to the gym and then you might work out for 40 minutes, but you're spending a lot of time on your phone fucking around with a Spotify playlist or whatever. And then you have to I got to make sure I take this exact supplement and I have to fall asleep at exactly 11:13 p.m. And it's like, eventually you're going to get burnt out. The best way to work out and get better is to have other hobbies with it. That way it still stays fresh and you stay excited doing it. And again, you have multiple things that you're enjoying, multiple things that you're doing. And that's kind of what fuels the economy. Because you're more consistent with what you're doing with yourself. And that's going to cause you to, now all of a sudden, you will buy the creatine supplement. You will buy more fish oil. You're going to stick with the routine. You've developed a strong habit. So too many people, the get-rich-quick mentality is ruining society. Life itself is becoming a pump and dump penny stock. Just like trying to make it really big, real fast, and sell high. Memes, tendies and my wife's boyfriend. It's like all these memes that were funny for a week back during COVID, and people are still saying them like they're funny and they're cool and they're new. It's like this shit's old. So yeah, people need to go outside more. That will help facilitate the economy way better. But for all you people who are losing their job, who knows? Maybe it'll happen to me tomorrow. I don't fucking know. But all these people who are losing their job, and they still won't realize that, no, Trump is your problem. Republicans don't care. I know you want to hate trans people because it's weird or something, but there's not many of them. There's only like 3 of them in the NCAA sports. So why are you wasting your time caring about this culture war shit that is so irrelevant to your life? And when do you start developing a skill, some habits, pursuing your hobbies, and actually enjoying your life? Are you this happy being miserable? Are you this happy hating on, oh, this conspiracy, that conspiracy, these group of people, that group of people? And yes, I do think that because, nobody wants to take that first step and actually go outside and live their life again. Look, I've tried it. I've joined many meetup groups. A lot of them are very small or get canceled the day of. I've gone on speed dating events. I try to go on the ones that are free because I don't think I should have to pay to meet people, especially because a lot of times the speed dating events are like the guys have to pay and the girls don't, which I think is a little unfair to us dudes. But I've joined movie meetup groups. The most recent movie meetup group, it's just like an old husband and wife, and we're lucky to get 2 or 3 other people. Eventually put yourself out there and live your life. There are still cheaper things to do that can be fun. I understand. Even the movies are more expensive now. It sucks. I agree. But there are still ways to, even go to the movies fairly cheap. You might have to sneak in a candy bar or whatever. It's like, okay, that sucks. But yeah, I mean, the economy is not growing anymore because of your of your internet addiction. You got to stop the internet memes and all of these websites that are all becoming just more and more. I wouldn't even say like Republican in the sense of like an old school, whatever, Bush era or earlier Republican. It's just this anger Republican. The whole like, yeah, the 2007 4chan Republican. Just being angry and shit posting. Are you tired of shit posting? Are you tired of the internet? Are you tired of arguing with people on the internet, which might not even be actual people, might be some bot. It might be some rando who's being paid to just troll you. You don't fucking know. Is this making your life happy? So yeah, I do believe that Trump is screwing you over. He's getting rid of your job. He's flooding the market with a bunch of people who need to find a job, and it's only going to cause employed people to have their wages negotiated downwards too. Oh, but was it worth it? Not many people are making more money anymore. The stock market is repeatedly, I think it had a green day today, but we're seeing a lot of red. The cost of all these tariffs are going to be pushed onto you and me. Eggs aren't going to go down anytime soon. And it's not because of Biden, because the eggs were high. That has no fucking stupid shit. USAID was not your problem. Now you lose Medicaid. Again, federal employees they have to find a job somewhere. The private sector is not booming right now. Everyone's cutting. So where are these people going to go? Capitalism is just as much of a Ponzi scheme as big government. Just my thoughts. Have a good one.